Have you ever just, stopped and looked around at the world? I mean, really looked. From the tiniest little bug to the biggest tree, it's just this incredible, mind-boggling explosion of life. In this explainer, we're going to dive into that beautiful chaos and try to find the hidden patterns, the secret rules that connect it all. There's this beautiful old proverb that really gets to the heart of it. It talks about how everything in nature seems to have a purpose, how it's all connected. And that's exactly what we're going to explore today, that elegant, complex web of life. So, that brings us to the big question, right? When you're faced with literally millions of different plants and animals, it can feel a little overwhelming. How on earth do we even begin to sort through it? How do scientists find any kind of order in what looks like total chaos?
Well, it all starts with a very basic but very powerful idea, the science of sorting. Biologists call it classification, and it's really the first step to understanding pretty much everything in the living world.
Honestly, it's something you already do every day. Think about it. When you pack a bag, you put your notebooks together, your pens together, you group things. It just makes finding stuff easier. Well, scientists do the exact same thing, but with the entire living world. They group things by what they have in common. Let's take plants, for instance. Just by looking, we can make some really simple groups. You've got your small, soft-stemmed plants, we call those herbs. Then you've got your medium-sized, woody plants like a rose bush, those are shrubs. And of course, you've got the big guys, tall trees with thick trunks. See? Simple observation gets us started.
Okay, but that's just scratching the surface. What if I told you there are hidden rules, a secret instruction manual that connects parts of a plant that you would never think are related? This right here is where things get really interesting.
So clue number 1 is hiding in plain sight. On the leaf. It's the pattern of the veins. Some leaves have this crazy branching net-like pattern. That's called reticulate venation. Think of a hibiscus leaf. Others have veins that run in straight parallel lines, like on a blade of grass. That's parallel venation. Okay, so 2 different leaf designs. Remember that. Now for clue number 2, we have to go underground, to the roots. Some plants have one big main root that goes straight down, with smaller ones branching off. That's a taproot. A carrot is a perfect example. But other plants have a whole bunch of thin, stringy roots all tangled together. That's a fibrous root system. So again, 2 totally different designs. What could the connection possibly be? All right, let's put the puzzle pieces together. If you look at a plant like Sadabahar, you'll see it has that net-like pattern on its leaves. And what kind of root does it have? A taproot. Now look at lemongrass. It has those parallel leaf veins. And yep, you guessed it, fibrous roots. It's a pattern. The leaf design and the root design are connected. This is definitely not a coincidence. And here it is, the big secret that links everything together. It all starts with the seed. Plants that begin their life with 2 tiny seed leaves, we call them dicots, they're the ones that grow up to have net-like veins and a taproot. And plants that start with only 1 seed leaf, the monocots, they're the ones with parallel veins and fibrous roots. It's incredible, right? The seed is the blueprint for the entire plant. So, okay, we've got a system for sorting life. But that just leads to an even bigger question. Why is everything so different to begin with? Why is an animal from the mountains built so differently from one in the desert? To get that, we need to talk about 2 key ideas, adaptation and habitat. The first idea is adaptation, and you can think of it like a custom-made survival kit. Every single living thing out there has a unique set of tools, these special features that are perfectly designed to help it survive and thrive right where it lives. And there's no better example of this than the camel. Check this out. The camel from a hot desert has long legs to keep its body away from the scorching sand. But the camel from a cold, mountainous desert has shorter legs for better stability. The hot desert camel has 1 hump for storing food, while the cold desert one has 2. For surviving those really long, harsh winters. They're both camels, but they are perfectly adapted for 2 completely different worlds.
And that special place where an organism lives, the hot desert for one camel, the cold mountains for the other, that's its habitat. A habitat is more than just a home. It's the entire system that provides everything that organism needs to survive. The food, the water, the shelter,
the whole shebang.
If you think about all these different species, each with its own incredible story of adaptation, it's like our planet is this enormous, precious library, and every species is a unique book. Which brings us to our last and honestly most important point. We have to protect this library.
Because here's the thing. When a habitat gets damaged or destroyed, it's not just one animal or one plant that's in trouble. It's like serving an eviction notice to every single species that calls that place home. We're not just losing animals, we're losing entire chapters from the story of life on Earth. But the good news is, people are fighting back. They're fighting to protect this library. In India, for example, Project Tiger started way back in 1973 to save the Bengal tiger from disappearing. And just recently, in 2022, the Cheetah Reintroduction Project was launched. These are huge, hopeful efforts to make sure these amazing stories don't get lost forever.
So we've gone from sorting simple plants all the way to reading the secret blueprints of nature itself. We've seen these incredible stories written in the veins of a leaf, in the shape of a root, even in the number of humps on a camel's back. And it all leads to one final thought, one last question for all of us. Now that we know how to read this amazing library of life, what are we going to do to make sure none of its books disappear forever?